Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. The drama difference between the Raiders and Broncos this week is like the difference between Michael Phelps winning the gold medal and me making it through an afternoon at the public pool without getting dunked by the bigger kid's Perna. Yes, the Raiders have officially released wide receiver Antonio Brown after 48 hours of insanity, and the Broncos selected Empower Stadium for their naming rights, which Broncos fans didn't love. Broncos fans are bitching about the name of a stadium, and Raiders fans are questioning their entire existence. The only way this could be more entertaining is if the Broncos had come to an agreement with Ritz Crackers this week for the stadium naming rights. Today, though, I will predict the Broncos-Raiders Monday Night Football season with deadly accuracy and update you on the Antonio Brown situation, which I don't want to do, but I have to do. And now we are back to 0 fucking days without mentioning Antonio Brown here at That's Good Sports. Oh, Broncos, your 8-bit helmet designs are in the That's Good Sports store. And Raiders fans, I've got Raiders 8-bit helmets. And unlike an Antonio Brown jersey, it will never go out of style. Also, this episode is sponsored from my friends at Manscaped. It is the only place for you to get your ball trimmers that are safe. Do it. Hair, beard, chest, back, balls, feet. Hair, beard, chest, back, balls, feet. Science lab? It doesn't matter where you shave, it matters how you shave. The #1 place for total body maintenance is manscaped.com. I have put the Lawnmower 2.0 through the ringer. It is my favorite manscaping tool, and I recommend you try the Perfect Package 2.0 plus peak hygiene plan. It comes with the lawnmower, the plow, the crop preserver, the crop reviver, the pube mat, and a free travel storage bag, and a replacement blade for your lawnmower every 3 months for just $14.99. If you're already manscaping, definitely check out their new replenishment plans, where you choose the frequency of delivery so you never run out of your favorite product. Use my promo code GOODSPORTS or the link in the description to save 20% off your Manscaped order. I will dive into the prediction, I promise, but I literally can't make videos fast enough to update you on everything that is happening with the shit show circus in Oakland. Thursday, we thought the Raiders might suspend Antonio Brown for calling Mike Mayock a bitch and a cracker. Then Antonio Brown unfollowed all of the Raiders' socials. Friday, Antonio Brown apologized, and we thought Mike Mayock was Jon Gruden's puppet. Friday night, though, Antonio Brown, after apologizing, posted this video, which features a secret recording of Jon Gruden, who was telling Antonio Brown to cut the shit and play football.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, Coach?
What the hell's going on, man? Let me ask you this, do you want to be a Raider or not?
I've been trying to be a Raider since day one. I've been fucking working my ass off harder than anyone. I don't know why it's a question of me being a Raider. Like, do you guys want me to be a Raider?
Please stop this shit and just play football. How hard is it, man? You're a great football player. Just play football.
Yeah, but I'm more than a football player, man. I'm a real person. It ain't about the football. I know how to do that. I'll show you guys down the daily. This is my life.
Everyone is saying this video looked like a Nike ad. And I agree, because Nike loves working with players who have no football team. We were told Jon Gruden loved the video. Wake up Saturday morning and the Raiders have fined Antonio Brown $215,000 and also voided all of his guaranteed money. $30 million, not guaranteed no more. And then they released Antonio Brown per his request. They get out of having to pay him, and Antonio Brown posts this to Insta: "You are gonna piss a lot of people off when you start doing what's best for you." Well, I agree that not playing for the Raiders is best for any player. But I don't know how jeopardizing $30 million is best for Brown. And just 2 weeks ago, we thought Andrew Luck's retirement was the craziest NFL news story we had witnessed in a very long time. Antonio Brown saw that and he said, "Hold my..." the official drink choice of Antonio Brown. Now, I will address more with Antonio Brown when he signs, if he signs with another organization that he wants to ruin. Not that he ruined the Raiders. That's more like pissing on rubble at this point, you know what I mean? That didn't last long. Antonio Brown signs a 1-year deal, and who gives a shit? Fucking, he's on the Patriots. The Patriots signed him. I didn't think they would actually do it, but if there's one place that can make it fucking work, it's Christ, New England. Antonio Brown to the Patriots, just chalk right in their Super Bowl. Like, the only hope any of us have is that Antonio Brown can do to the Patriots what he did to the Raiders, and I don't think that'll happen. And fuck the Raiders. Fuck them for releasing Antonio Brown instead of keeping him on the roster and not paying him, which they could have done. And now the Raiders, they just screwed the entire NFL. The entire NFL this season is ruined because of the Raiders. Oh, God. Antonio Brown says God has a plan. I hope his plan is to burn the Patriots down, as Antonio has threatened he will do if he doesn't get his way. Please don't let him get his way in New England. The roller coaster of emotions today. As a Broncos fan, finding out Antonio Brown will not be playing against your team on Monday Night Football to start the NFL season. Joy. The same kind of joy you might experience finding out that your wife is pregnant. And then you find out Antonio Brown signs with the fucking Patriots, which is like finding out your wife is pregnant, but it's somebody else's kid. On to the prediction. This is the first official Broncos prediction episode of the 2019 season. Will and I have looked at each matchup. We pick a winner, assign a point value, and then the team with the most overall points at the end is crowned the winner of this meaningless prediction. The home team always gets a half-point advantage, so half point here for the Raiders. And let's be honest, they need that half point right now. And probably some sympathy cards from the rest of the AFC West. Now, even if the Broncos were playing at home, I'm not sure I could give them a half point for Empower Stadium. Does anyone actually give a shit about the name of the stadium? As fans, we're going to call it Mile High regardless. Not a single fan will be like, hey guys, I'll see you over at Empower Stadium tomorrow for the tailgate. Or meet me at the Empower Stadium parking lot midnight Tuesday for the drug deal. First matchup, coach versus coach. After seeing the shit Jon Gruden pulls behind the scenes, I don't know how anyone can play for this guy. Knocking on wood, making his players finish his sentences like first graders. It's pretty clear Jon Gruden is, that's right, a terrible coach who's past his prime. He acts like a tough guy. He's basically made millions off of that persona, and yet he's letting a schizophrenic wide receiver call the shots on his team. Well, not anymore, I guess. All that said, we've never seen Vic Fangio coach a real game. We do know that he likes to buck traditions. He doesn't like music during practices, he doesn't like designated team captains, and he prefers coaching from the booth. What's next? Using a tablecloth from an Italian restaurant as a challenge flag, Vic? Probably. Just because Fangio is an even 0 on the coaching scale and Gruden is a sub-0, I'm giving the Broncos half point for coaching. Broncos offense versus Raiders defense. Denver's first look at Joe Flacco comes against a defense that last year ranked 26th in yards allowed and gave up the most points in the league at 29.2 per game and had fewer sacks as a whole than Khalil Mack. And by the way, the Raiders getting rid of their best player right before the season starts is my new favorite tradition in football. Look, and I don't even think the Raiders' defense improved this offseason. They spent their first pick on Clelin Ferrell, with Josh Allen still available, and their third pick on Jonathan Abram, who doesn't even know which team he's supposed to hit or how to pronounce salmon. On the Broncos side, Vic Fangio says Noah Fant is supposed to have a big role on Monday night, and the majority of the offense is healthy, aside from Andy Janovich. Flacco loves throwing to tight ends. He's targeted a tight end on 23% of his passes over the last 3 years. That's 5th most in the league. So expect a lot of work for Jeff Hireman and Noah Fant, which I think will surprise some people, especially as they try to take advantage of the Raiders' thin linebacking core. The truth is, we don't know if the Broncos' offensive line is going to be good. Dalton Reisner, looks like a rookie stud, but you can put question marks on every other position until they show us how they perform as a unit. We haven't really seen them play together much. The good news, I'm not sure who to fear from the Raiders' defensive line. Maurice Hurst, Jonathan Hankins, the ghost of Antonio Brown, seems like the perfect matchup for the Broncos offensive line to acclimate to the regular season. For the skill positions, we're also waiting for Cortland Sutton and or Deshaun Hamilton to compete with Emmanuel Sanders as a bona fide NFL receiving target for the Broncos. Outside of the Raiders maybe using LaMarcus Joyner in the slot from time to time, the Denver receivers have a major advantage over Oakland's corners. I think Emmanuel Sanders and another Broncos ball catcher will have a field day with Garyon Conley and Daryl Worley. Full point for the Broncos offense. Would be less, but Conley and Worley never actually got to practice covering Antonio Brown since he never showed up for fucking practice. Special teams versus special teams. I'm not sure anyone is out kicking Brandon McManus's mustache. Certainly not Raiders kicker Daniel Carlson. However, the Broncos special team coverage units and punter Colby Wadman struggled this preseason. Pair that with the fact that the Raiders have a good returner, Dwayne Harris, who took one back against the Broncos last year. You might remember that shit play. And the Broncos have a returner who last played meaningful snaps in Canada. So probably a little disparity there. I'll give Oakland a slight 0.25 advantage here. Okay, no, wait. Half point. Raiders, I feel bad for you for the first time ever, so I'm giving you a little love. Raiders offense versus Broncos defense. Is Mike Mayock a cracker? Oh my God, yes. He, Gruden, and Mark Davis are the holy trinity of communion wafer crackers. And the only way they can be brought to life every morning is to be soaked in the blood of Christ himself. It is the only thing that gives their skin pigment any color. Those three are the fucking Cracker Barrel of crackers. They brush their teeth with mayonnaise. Is Mayock a bitch though? Sorry, no. AB, that's over the line, and now you're gone. Can you imagine if Emmanuel Sanders called John Elway a bitch? No, because most players don't do that, at least not to their faces. Jon Gruden's offensive plan for 2019 was throw it to Antonio Brown. Like Elway, he had no plan B, and now he's stuck with Tyrell Williams, JJ Nelson, Dwayne Harris, who's been a problem for the Broncos, and Hunter Renfrow, which all feel like great compliments when there's a good receiver on the team. Renfrow is also part of the Cracker Raiders Club, just a side note. Without AB, that group looks like the least intimidating wide receiving core in the league, next to maybe Seattle's, which could be AB's next home. Now, I feel really good about the Broncos defense. Shelby Harris is poised to have a Pro Bowl year, and I'm definitely not high on the Raiders offensive line. They're like Denver's line, unproven as a unit, could be better, and spent a massive amount of money at right tackle. But the Raiders have to face Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. Even if their line is good, I don't think you will see that this week. Plus, Adam Gotsis and Shelby Harris seem to learn how to bat down passes like Antonio Brown can swat away money. Biggest question mark besides AB's mental well-being is Bryce Callahan. Is he healthy enough to make an impact for the Broncos at corner? We haven't seen him or Kareem Jackson this preseason. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs could have a big day with the question marks the Broncos have at the linebacker position, which got worse because it looks like there is a very slim chance Todd Davis will play. But I think between the Broncos pass rush and their ability to cover, the Denver linebackers will be fine despite the depth concerns. Huge advantage to the Broncos defense. Full point. Thank you for putting a week 1 W in our laps, AB. Quarterback versus quarterback. Don't forget, if Joe Flacco gets hurt, Brandon Allen will be running the team, as Drew Lock, along with Jake Butt and Theo Riddick, are all now on IR. Kind of concerning until you remember the alternative was Kevin Hogan before him. Now, Derek Carr said in his phone call with Denver media this week that Chris Harris Jr. is a Hall of Fame cornerback. He went on to say, though, and if he's not, he will be after I get done with him on Monday night. Boom! Roasted! I always thought if Joe Flacco and Derek Carr switched first names, that they would actually be Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Joe Carr, winner. Derek Flacco, winner. Other way around, you have Average Joe and Dine and Dash Derek. We've seen both of these QBs throw game-losing pick sixes to the Broncos. Carr to Chris Harris in 2015, Flacco to Talib in 2015. Carr, though, had the quietest 4,000-yard passing season last year ever. Derek Carr is probably slightly better than Joe Flacco right now and is benefiting from playing in his second season with whatever the hell Jon Gruden calls an offense. I think both need support from their running backs in this game, with the difference being Flacco actually gets the big plays from Lindsey and Freeman. This is the most even QB matchup I have ever seen on this show, but Flacco has at least one proven receiver to throw to now. Slight edge to Flacco. And that changed after they released AB. X Factors! The Broncos signed Deontay Spencer, a new receiver returner. There's a great video about him on YouTube that I think even Raiders fans will appreciate. His story will inspire you, so I suggest you watch Can't Stop, Won't Stop, the Deontay Spencer story now. This is a guy I will definitely be rooting for because of everything he had to overcome to get to the NFL, like playing in Canada. In the CFL, he set a record for most total yards in a game. He fills a massive void in the punt return department for the Broncos and might just shine as an explosive slot receiver. That's the Broncos X Factor. The Raiders is obviously inexplicably rallying together and playing well despite everything that has happened this last week. A cancer has been removed, and maybe because of that they thrive as they have ridded themselves of the biggest problem in that locker room. If I believed the Raiders were a good team, I would buy into that. I don't, and I think the Broncos, as the points say, win on Monday Night Football, baby, to close out week 1. Big win, just like the points say. 35-13. And that's how I always start the season here, with blinded optimism. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. And football prediction, baby, we are doing it the real way. Oh, football. Also follow @WillKeys6 on Twitter. He helps me write football stuff.